And by pure coincidence, the very courtroom where Harvey Weinstein sat as he learned his fate back in 2020 is the same courtroom Donald Trump sits in today.
His hush money trial continues today, but there is also news concerning his other indictments. The Supreme Court hearing oral arguments today over Trump's claim that he is immune from prosecution. Linda Schmidt live for us in Lower Manhattan with the latest on both fronts. Hey, Linda.
Yeah, good afternoon, first of all, to both of you. Yeah, the former president here fighting two court cases today, both of them, by the way, historic. Of course, his criminal hush money case going on here in Lower Manhattan, and also now today the U.S. Supreme Court hearing arguments in another case. None of this, by the way, preventing or stopping the president from doing some campaigning while he is here in New York. Now, go ahead and take a look at this video. This is video from earlier this morning, way before court started. He stopped by a construction site in Midtown to speak with some construction workers. Some of them are union, some of them are not. Now, he has complained that his criminal hush money trial is just a political hatchet job against him to prevent him from campaigning for president. He has repeatedly said that he should be on the campaign trail and not in a New York City courtroom. Well, on the stand once again today, court resumed about 9:30 this morning, is David Pecker. He is a longtime friend of Trump's and the former publisher of the National Enquirer tabloid. Now, he testified earlier this week that he had worked with Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, and with Trump to bury negative stories about him leading up to the 2016 election. So it was all during the 2016 campaign. Also today, while this is going on here in Lower Manhattan, the U.S. Supreme Court, of course, in D.C., hearing arguments today on whether Trump can avoid prosecution over his actions to overturn the 2020 election results while he was still in office. Now, these alleged actions leading up to the January 6th attack at the U.S. Capitol. Trump has long complained that he should be in D.C. for this hearing today and what's going on before the U.S. Supreme Court, but New York Judge Juan Merchan would not allow him to miss his criminal trial here in New York. Here's what he had to say this morning.
I would have loved to have been there, but this judge would not allow that to happen. I should be there, but he wouldn't allow it to happen. I think he puts himself above the Supreme Court, which is unfortunate, isn't it? But the argument on immunity is very important. The president has to have immunity.
All right. Meanwhile, in court here in Lower Manhattan today, the prosecution once again asking the judge to hold the former president in contempt of court for violating the gag order. They are saying that he violated the gag order so far in total 14 times, including 4 times in just the last 3 days while his trial is going on, and that it occurred in the hallway just outside the courtroom when he comes outside and he speaks with reporters there in the hall. He made some comments about Michael Cohen. He also made a comment about jurors being 95% Democrats. We don't know that, but that's the comment that he made. He is not allowed to make any comments about the jurors or any witnesses in this case. And of course, Michael Cohen is going to be a witness here. Back inside to you.